Today we're going to talk about one of the most epic deaths in human history.
It is a dark night in 12th century Japan, and a Buddhist monk named Benkei wanders the streets of Kyoto. The city is filled with temples, and monks are a common sight, but this man is different. Standing nearly 7 feet tall, he towers over everyone around him and carries a weapon, a cross between a sword and a long spear called a naginata. His face gives off the feeling of someone on a hunt rather than someone seeking enlightenment. And in fact, he was hunting that night, his final victim. Benkei was actually a warrior monk, trained and battle-hardened through countless encounters with samurai. Over time, he came to believe that the samurai were an arrogant class, unworthy of their status in society. The world would be a better place with fewer of them. This belief led him on a bloody quest to duel and defeat 1,000 samurai, collecting their swords as trophies after each victory. By this point, he had already collected 999 swords and was out that night searching for his final duel. While walking near Gojo Tenjin Shrine, Benkei hears the sound of a flute. Looking for the source, he finds a small, slender samurai. At the man's waist hangs a beautifully gilded katana, the perfect piece to complete Benkei's collection. He immediately challenges the samurai to a duel. The small samurai puts away his flute and, surprisingly, agrees to fight. The two walk together to Gojo Bridge and draw their weapons. Full of confidence, Benkei charges forward, but despite towering over his opponent, he is swiftly defeated. Instead of taking his life, the samurai simply turns and walks away. Benkei is left shocked and in disbelief. In the days that follow, these unfamiliar feelings turn into anger and frustration. How could he lose to such a small samurai when he had defeated much larger men before? He decides to watch the grounds of Kiyomizu-dera Temple, waiting for the samurai to appear so he can take his revenge. Eventually, the samurai returns, and Benkei challenges him once again. Once again, Benkei is defeated. Humiliated, he bows in defeat and declares that he will abandon his life as a monk and instead follow the samurai as his retainer. The samurai, who turns out to be Minamoto no Yoshitsune of the legendary Minamoto clan, accepts. Benkei joins him on his adventures, and the two become inseparable. They join Yoshitsune's half-brothers and fight in the Genpei War against the powerful Taira clan, which had killed Yoshitsune's father when he was still a baby. After 5 years of fighting, the Minamoto clan emerges victorious, and one of Yoshitsune's half-brothers, Yoritomo, becomes shogun. The end of the war brings unintended consequences. Without a common enemy, jealousy and suspicion turn the brothers against one another. Yoshitsune and Benkei become fugitives, pursued by Yoritomo and his men. They find temporary refuge with the Fujiwara clan, living for several years in relative peace. But it does not last. Under pressure and likely many bribes, Yoritomo convinces the Fujiwara to betray them. Fujiwara no Hidehira, once their protector, turns them in. On June 15, 1189, at the Battle of Koromogawa, Yoshitsune and Benkei find themselves trapped and outnumbered 5-1, with roughly 500 men surrounding the castle. The battle begins. Yoshitsune's men fight heroically. Benkei, in particular, becomes a demon on the battlefield, crushing enemies who were, on average, more than a foot shorter than him. Despite their efforts, Yoshitsune's forces begin to fall rapidly. With only a handful of retainers remaining, Yoshitsune realizes the battle is lost. He tells Benkei that he plans to commit seppuku inside the castle and that he needs time to prepare. Benkei understands the assignment. He walks to the bridge, the only entrance to the castle, and stands alone against the entire Fujiwara army. Fujiwara orders the attack. Wave after wave of soldiers charge Benkei, and he cuts them down one by one. No man makes it past him. Some stories claim he single-handedly killed 300 soldiers on that bridge. Benkei stands stoically behind a pile of fallen warriors, beckoning more men to cross. Despite their orders, none dare move. They all know that stepping onto the bridge is a death sentence. Realizing his men are too terrified to attack head-on, Fujiwara orders his archers to fire from a distance. A barrage of arrows strike Benkei's chest. Nothing happens. He does not flinch. Another volley follows. Still nothing changes. Benkei's body is now riddled with arrows, yet he remains standing, defiantly blocking the bridge. Time passes. Both sides stare at one another in silence. No one makes the first move. Finally, Fujiwara orders a few men to advance. They approach cautiously. Benkei does not move. When they finally reach him, they discover that although he is still standing, he is already dead. Knowing he needed to buy as much time as possible for his master, Benkei had positioned himself to be supported by his spear, remaining upright even in death. In his final stand, he showed no pain or emotion, deceiving the enemy and protecting Yoshitsune. Because of Benkei's final actions, Yoshitsune had enough time to properly perform the seppuku ritual, preserving his honor. What a legendary companion!